and found on the other side, trying to get all the messages to where they need to go. And this is so different of a crowd from when I'm up north in New England. I don't see any drinks here. Normally when I'm in New England, who's bringing the drinks? People bring their own spirits with them. People bring them in their bag. People bring the rolls of toilet paper. We're very wealthy games tonight. Probably because I'm not up here that much. So that being said, like I said, we're going to have a lot of fun today. We're going to laugh. We're going to cry. We're going to shut our pants today. It's going to be great. And I want to start with this row right here. I want this row to stand up. You all stand up. So there's a couple of different souls right away that's stepping forward from the other side. First of all, your dad departed?
No.
There's a man that's stepping forward with you, with a child that's coming through. Did you lose a child here in the physical?
Yes.
Okay. So know that was probably, he keeps telling me hello, do you know who this is?
Yes. My son?
Yes. So know that your son would be stepping forward, but he keeps telling me he's with the grandfather. So who would that be?
See, my father's my husband.
Because know what happens is anytime that there's a soul that comes through on the other side, there's somebody that's there that's accompanying them. And your son told me that you were afraid because you didn't know who brought him to the other side or who he was with in heaven and who was there with him. Do you understand that?
Yes.
And your son said to me that I needed to come to you. A lot of times the way that I'll see them is that it's the people with the urgent messages that come through first. And your son was like, over here, talk to my mom, talk to my mom. And he said to me that you were talking to him all day before you came to this event, asking him to come through. Do you understand that?
Yes.
And your son said to me that he passed in tragedy here in the physical world. He says, and you're trying to find answers, and you're trying to get to the bottom of what had happened. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Your son said to me that he wants you to know that he wants that, first of all, he tells me that you kept clothes of his. That's the first thing that he tells me. Because he tells me my mom has my clothes that she kept and held on to. He says that I want to let her know to release the guilt, he says, and to forgive herself. Because you feel like you could have saved your son, or there was something that you could have done to prevent his passing. Do you understand that?
Yes.
But your son is taking responsibility from the other side. He just told me there was drugs or alcohol involved in his passing here in this world. Do you understand that?
Yes.
And your son said to me, I made a promise to you, Mom. He says that I did not keep. He says, I promised you, he says that I was going to stop. He says, I promised you that I wasn't going to do this anymore and that I was going to change the people that were around me. Do you understand that?
Yes.
And your son said to me, I'm sorry, he says, for not keeping that promise. He says, and you're holding on to all of the stress because you feel as though that you could have done something to stop him and that you should have known. And your son's laughing on the other side. He says to me that when he was here in the physical, you knew every single thing that he was going to do before he even did it.
Yes. We were that close. Yeah.
And he says to me, like, a lot of times he used to try to sneak out of the house or sneak away from you, and you'd be like, where the hell are you going? I know that you're leaving. Come back here.
Yes.
And he tells me that one time he even stole the car. He talks about stealing the car.
Since he was 13.
Since he was 13? Are you kidding me?
He used to ride around. We lived on dirt roads, and he used to just take everyone's cars, and they would leave his brother and sister.
Because he said to me, and this is why a lot of times they'll talk about the memories that they had here. And your son stepped forward and says, can you let my mother know I'm in the car? And he's driving like this, and I see him going all around. He's like, and he tells me that you used to catch him all the time. Like when you used to wake up, you used to know that the cars were moved. And he's like, I never knew how my mom knew. He says, he used to check the mileage. So no, it's his way of acknowledging that from up in heaven. Because he said to me that the way that you knew about the cars, you feel like you should have known that your son was in danger and that something was going to happen to him. But he tells me that there's questions that you have about somebody else being involved in his passing, or somebody, because I keep seeing police line, do not cross, and he tells me there's questions over murder here.
Yeah, they were investigating as a homicide.
You're investigated as a homicide. No, a lot of times I'll work with police and I'll work with different law enforcement agencies and they'll talk about it. And there's a lot of layers here to this. Because when I'm looking at this, there's a lot of people that were involved. I see when I'm looking at these police files, they didn't know where your son was. They were trying to figure out where he was located or try to find out, because he moved around a lot that night.
He was in prison.
Oh, in prison when this had happened. And were they moving him to different cells, or were they moving him to, there was a move, can you tell me about a move?
This is his twin brother.
Okay.
We were trying to have him stay in one facility because his life was in danger at another, and they refused my wishes.
So that's what he's talking about. So they were moving him to another facility when this had happened.
It happened 4 days after they moved him.
4 days after they moved him. Do you see how specific they are? Your son kept telling me they're trying to track him down. I kept seeing about like they're talking about a move that was here, and I didn't know what the move was. I didn't know if it was like from the house or what it was, but if they were moving him to a different facility, and then he goes to that facility, next thing you know, he turns up dead, know that that would be the reason why. And that's the reason why you feel connected, is that you feel as though, one, that he shouldn't have been in prison because of the drugs or the alcohol, that's what caused him to go in there, and two, about the fact that you should have been there, or your voice should have been heard, in fact, to go and to protect your son. Your son said to me, Mom, you have spent so much of your life picking up the pieces for me here in this world. He says, and I want to thank you for that. He says, I know, he says, how much that you've been, your son tells me that you told him that you wanted to be with him.
Yeah.
That's why you're here today. He said to me that even though that he had passed on, that he wants you to know that his life here in this world is, his soul is here in this world with you. He is safe and at peace, he is on the other side, and that his soul is safe with you. All right, I'm gonna leave you with that. Give her a round of applause. You sit down, I want to sit down here. I want to come to this row. Can I have this whole row stand up? I always go up to the random row. You're right there? That's all right. If you pass out, I'm an EMT. I can take care of you. If you die, we talk to you. You're in a good place.